प्रसीद प्रसीद मातः जगतोऽखिलस्य प्रसीद विश्वेश्वरि पाहि विश्वं त्वमीश्वरी देवी चराचरस्य त्वं वैष्णवी शक्तिरनन्तवीर्या विश्वस्य बीजं परमासि माया सम्मोहितं देवि समस्तमेतत् त्वं वै प्रसन्ना भुवि मुक्तिहेतुः।
ॐ गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ श्रीमात्रे नमः। We continue with Devi Mahatmyam, and this will be the concluding talk. Today we will cover the last two chapters, the 12th and the 13th chapter. In this chapter, we will be talking about the greatness of Devi and the greatness of this Devi Mahatmyam. Devi spoke, O Devas, he who with composed mind will always praise me with these hymns, for him I will remove all his misfortunes beyond any doubt. Those who read about the destruction of this Madhu and Kaitava and the slaying of Mahishasura, and likewise Shumbha and Nishubha, will always be protected. Those who will recite or listen to the Supreme Mahatmya with devotion and with single-mindedness on the 8th, 14th and the 9th days of the lunar fortnight will always be protected. Again, it is the 8th, 14th and 9th days of the lunar fortnight, also referred to as Ashtamya, Chaturdashyam and Navamyam. To those who will read or listen to the Devi Mahatmyam on these auspicious days, to them nothing bad will happen, nor any misfortunes arise from wrongdoing. For them there will be no poverty nor any separation from loved ones. For this person there will be no danger from enemies or from authorities like kings, nor from any weapon, fire or flood at any time. They will be protected by Devi. Therefore, this Devi Mahatmyam is to be recited and heard with devotion and singleness of the mind, and this is the greatest conduit to the highest well-being. Devi continues, may this Mahatmya quell all misfortunes born of an illness and also the 3 kinds of natural calamity. Devi further assures, my presence will constantly abide where the narrative of Mahatmya is well recited and heard. I will never forsake this place. Devi continues, in the offering of oblation during worship, in the fire sacrifice, yagya, and at great festive occasions, this presentation of my glory should be completely recited and listened to. I will happily accept with love all acts of worship, oblations, and fire sacrifices, whether performed with knowledge or without understanding. When yearly worship is performed in autumn season, that is the Sharada Navaratri, the presentation of my glory should be listened to with devotion and full attention. By doing so, men and women will become liberated from all afflictions and without doubt be blessed with wealth, food, and beautiful children. Devi continues, listening to this Mahatmya of my auspicious presence and the stories and my heroic valor in the battle, a man becomes fearless. For those who listen to the narrative of my glories, the enemies will perish and the well-being is generated and their families will be happy and rejoicing. Devi says, let my glories be heard everywhere, in the functions where it is peaceful, or upon seeing a bad dream, or to alleviate the hostile effects predicated by planetary configuration. Troubles come to an end. The afflicting influences induced by the position of the planets will be removed. The nightmares seen by human beings become good dreams. It has pacifying influence on children afflicted by the existence of adverse planetary positions. And reading and listening to this Mahatmya will be the best cause of lasting friendship when associations of men have been shattered. This Mahatmya destroys the strength of evildoers, makes them weak, and its recitation destroys demons, ghosts, and other ungodly spirits. The entire narration of my glories brings people in close proximity to my being. There will be union with my being. With full contentment, I receive all the offerings of the puja materials, objects of value, incense, lights, perfumes, and the feeding of wise men. Those who come to me with pure devotion and pure love, they will be completely gratified. And those who have come to me with boons, they will be quickly answered. For one who is loving and who is keen in hearing this Devi Mahatmya, and for one who flawlessly pronounces these verses, all the sins are removed of him, and one who listens to this, he is made healthy and gets whatever he seeks. Here it is important to understand that whatever you are seeking, whatever the boons you are asking for, they should be aligned to nature, they should be dharmic. This is when Devi will always try to fulfill these desires which are aligned to nature. Listening to these stories and listening to the details of this Devi Mahatmyam grants protection from evil spirits, and the narration of my heroic acts in battle renders evil confusions powerless. In essence, the mind and heart become strong. the mind and heart become full and are in harmony with each other. Devi continues, after listening to this, men will lose fear of enemies. The hymns of praise made by you, O Devas, and the Rishis of divinity should be listened by all. By listening to this Devi Mahatmyam, the creative capacity increases and it will bestow a mental state which is balanced, and there will always be thoughts in the mind which are auspicious and providing welfare. The mind remains stable even when on a lonely path in the forest or surrounded by a raging fire. Devi further says, the men who remember my glory will be freed from calamity and anguish. By the power of my lions, by my power, many animals, cruel animals and the likes, robbers and enemies will flee. Listening to this will protect from robbers, from enemies, or from wild animals in the jungle. One is protected from the harsh sentences of authorities like an angry king, and protected in this life which is tossed about by turbulent winds like in a boat on the great sea. One is protected from terrible afflictions and moments of distress and any assault from opposing weapons, and also in the battlefield. Men who remember my glory will be freed from calamity and anguish. Further, Devi assures that there is no distance from one who remembers, who hears and narrates my glory. There is no distance between you and Devi. Having spoken thus, the Almighty Devi, who tears apart thought, which are the Asuras, who demolishes fierce enemies, disappeared from there. Now, the Rishi said, while all the gods were seeing her, the Devas have attained freedom from afflictions with their enemies slain, and they began to enjoy their shares of sacrifices and to started exercising their divine authority on the natural law or dharma as before. So when all these asuras and the enemies of the Devas and the natural law were slain in battle by Devi, the remaining asuras entered the lower worlds, the Patala. Now the Rishi addressed the king Suratha and said, O king, thus the supreme goddess, although eternal, manifests again and again for the protection of the worlds. It is she who creates the universe, and it is because of her the entire universe is also deluded. When you receive her grace through the prayers and through the recitation or listening to this Devi Mahatmya, then she grants wisdom and perfection. She removes these veils of Maya and gives liberation. O king, the entire cosmos is pervaded by her. She is omnipresent, omniscient and omnipotent. She is the innate nature, the Prakriti in everyone. She is the innate Shakti, the power in everyone. She is the great remover of darkness and the great destroyer of ignorance. She is the Mahakali. She is the pestilence and also she is the great destroyer. She is unborn yet becomes the creation. She is eternal and preserves all beings. During the auspicious times in the individual, she is the goddess of true wealth and granting prosperity in the homes of people. When one invites inauspiciousness, then she exists as ill fortune and brings about ruin. Here it is important to understand that we use our freedom in being aligned to Dharma in a proper way. She bestows understanding of the true knowledge, understanding of what is dharmic and adharmic, understanding what is truth and eternal. She bestows a mind, a beautiful mind, oriented to Dharma in the way of truth to wisdom. All one needs is to reach out to her through worship, through yajnas, and listening and reciting this Devi Mahatmyam. Now, here ends the 12th chapter named Bhagavati Vakyam from Devi Mahatmya in Savarnika Manvantara in Markandeya Purana. Swasti, well-being to all. Now we enter into the 13th chapter, and in this chapter Devi will be giving gifts or boons to Suratha and the Vaisya called Samadhi. The Rishi says to the king, O king, I have now narrated the excellent glory of Devi. She is the Almighty Devi with such power that sustains the whole world. All kinds of knowledge is only conferred by her, the perceivable form. She is the perceivable form of consciousness which pervades all. It is only through her that one attains discrimination in the intellect. Discrimination of what is true and untrue, what is lasting and not lasting, what is dharma and adharma. When one lacks this discrimination, then the delusion sets in. So, O great king, take refuge in her, the supreme sovereign. When propitiated by worship and devotion, she bestows upon men and women enjoyment, heaven, and ultimately liberation. Now Markandeya says the following in the Purana. Upon hearing the words of the very eminent Rishi who has practiced severe austerities, then Suratha, the king of men, bowed down to him. King Suratha and the Vaisya Samadhi now set forth to practice disciplined meditation. They wanted to do this Dhyana Samadhi with the object of procuring complete intuitive vision of the Mother. They wanted to have self-realization and the God realization of Mother. So they settled down on the sandbank of a river. He and Vaisya prepared an earthen image of the goddess on the river bank and continuously listened and recited to the Supreme Devi Sukta and continued with meditation. They worshipped her with flowers, incense, fire and water. Their minds were completely engrossed and composed with Devi. They restricted their food and sometimes fasted entirely. As part of their austerity, they sometimes sprinkled blood taken from their own bodies and worshipped her for 3 years. They lived with a lot of austerity and restraint. Finally, Devi, the sustainer of the world, was pleased and she spoke to them in a perceivable form. O King and O Vaisya, both of you who are delight to your family, you have attained to extreme bliss, which means they have attained the bliss consciousness, and I am completely satisfied. I shall give you whatever you desire. Now they both had a choice, and the king asked for an imperishable kingdom, which will remain with him in another life. So the king wanted return of his own kingdom, which was forcibly taken from him by his mighty enemies. But the wise Vaisya, whose mind was filled with renunciation and indifference to worldly objects, asked for the knowledge which removes the attachment of ego and possession. Then Devi said, O king, in just a few days your kingdom will be restored to you. After having slain your enemies, you will remain there firm and unshaken. After your death, you shall take another birth from the god Vivaswan, and you will be the Manu Savarni. You will be the Manu Savarni who belongs to all colors, tribes and castes, and by which name you will be known on earth. Then Devi turned towards Vaisya and she said, I grant you the blessing of which you desire of me. I bestow upon you the fullest attainment of knowledge, and you will remain in this highest wisdom by which you will attain liberation. So, having thus granted the blessings that each desired, Devi immediately disappeared after having been praised with devotion. Having obtained the blessing from the goddess, the mighty king, the best of warriors, will take his birth from Bhagavan Surya. Now here ends the 13th chapter named Suradha Vaishyoha Vara Pradanam. Again, Suradha Vaishyo Vara Pradanam from Devi Mahatmyam in Savarnika Manvantara in Markandeya Purana. Swasti. Now I will add a few words here. For all of you who have been listening to these talks during this Navaratri time, I would just like to say that the blissful path given by Maharishiji is the most easiest way. Transcending and rising in consciousness certainly needs some discipline, regularity, and a conducive environment for having deeper experiences. But it does not require the severe austerities and creating extreme hardships on the body and physiology. This is a blissful path So as you go in and you experience more silence, more peace and more bliss, then naturally the mind will be transcending these subtler aspects and will one day will have the experience of the self, the pure self. So in this time and age when people are busy and most of the people are worldly and living with families, then this blissful path is the easiest. I always found listening to Devi Mahatmyam was the easiest for me. I could listen when I had time and I could listen in the night. And it is beyond comprehension and beyond description how much protection I had from Mother and how much grace I received. Above all, I truly feel that the experience of the self and the God consciousness and the unity consciousness, all of that came because of Mother's grace. And also my Guru, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. When something so good happened to me with Devi Mahatmyam, I could not help but sharing this with you and hoping that you will be able to listen to it during all these auspicious times that were mentioned. Please make a note of them, and at least on those 3-4 days in the month you can listen. And once you start listening, then this becomes a habit, and this is how you transcend while listening. Then Mother will deepen the transcendence through your TM program, meditation program, and also transcending through all your senses. More and more physiology will be refined, and more of the nervous system becomes refined. The nervous system gains more and more silence and orderliness, and then the transcendence to experience the self will become easier. Besides, Jagannatha will remove the so many obstacles which are needed. Everybody who is in the seeking in this path knows how many obstacles arise from so many levels. No matter how hard you try, you cannot remove these obstacles. You certainly need the grace of Jagannatha. And thus the auspicious 700 shlokas of the glory of Goddess Devi Mahatmyam is complete. For those who slip on the ground and fall, the ground itself offers support. Similarly, for those who commit mistakes in your worship, you alone are the refuge, O Devi. This is the conclusion by Markandeya in the Markandeya Purana. Om Sri Matre Namaha.
Devi Vara,
शान्ति